Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Bluefin Design and I'm Nikhil. And in this video, I'm going to share some important tips about sharing and presenting your portfolio to the hiring team during an interview session. But before moving forward, please leave a like to this video if you like the content and it's helpful. Also, subscribe to my channel as I share such helpful videos regularly, and press the bell icon so you are notified for my next one as well. Also, share this with your classmates, with your friends who are preparing for their design interviews and may find this helpful. So help out your friends and share this video with them. With that, let's get started. So when you are invited for a portfolio presentation meeting, that portfolio invitation is actually your opportunity to share your portfolio, obviously, but then it's also an opportunity to share your design skills, your communication skills, your collaboration skills, and especially your collaboration skills with the developers if you're working on a larger team. Having 2 to 3 case studies on your UX portfolio is important and kind of expected at this point, because that's when the hiring team or the hiring managers get an overview and an understanding. So I recently shared a video about how to build your portfolio and what should you include in your portfolio. So if you haven't watched it, click the link somewhere here, or it's also in the description. So when you have at least 2 to 3 case studies and when you're presenting your portfolio, you are actually telling your story. So think of it as an opportunity where you get to tell your story of how you went through the process of working on that particular project, whatever you're presenting, and how you worked on solving that particular problem. Whatever it may be, doesn't matter. So it's your story, and remember that, and you need to be a storyteller. And when you are invited to this meeting and when you actually attend that portfolio presentation meeting, chances are on the other end, there may be more than one person listening and talking to you, right? So there may be the design leads from the company, from the team. There also may be the product manager who is attending the meeting, or in more often than not, there may be 1 or 2 or more developers attending the meeting. So all of the cross-functional team members that you will potentially work with, most of them will be there to see what you have worked on, right? So you need to talk to everyone while you are presenting your portfolio. So the important tip here is, do not include too many technical jargons in your portfolio or in your presentation, such that the team members or some of them may not understand them. So if you think this is something is a bit complex or a bit technical, then feel free to explain in detail. So when you do share your portfolio, at least prepare to share 2 to 3 projects or case studies so that you are comfortable sharing or answering to any requests that the hiring managers make. Right? So if they want to see or they want to learn more about a particular project, you should be ready with that as well. Now, if you only have 3, then just prepare for all of them, right? But the important thing is, if they give you the chance to project or present any project, then just share the one that you are most comfortable with, right? That way you can feel confident about sharing or presenting any project that you are most proud of. So when you do start your presentation, while you're walking them through the project, you also need to share certain items or certain aspects from your design philosophy. Whatever it is that you followed when you started working on that project, just mention it here so that the team knows that you started off with some foundations and some design foundations, and then that those foundations are reflected in your final solution. So make sure that those foundations do reflect in your solution. Otherwise, they both won't connect and there'll be a misunderstanding. So here is one of my case studies that I worked on, and then whenever I'm actually presenting my portfolio, this is the one that I start with because I am very proud of the work that I did here, and I'm most comfortable with sharing this portfolio piece. Tip number one here is that always start with the problem statement so that you can set some expectations with the team there so they know what to expect, right? So always share what was the problem that you worked on or started out with, and who were you working with, and how long did you work on that project? Who were the other team members? Like if you were working in a cross-functional team, right? So that's important. So while you're presenting, like as you go along presenting and talking about the various aspects or the process that you followed, make sure to explain what you did and the actions that you took in the various steps and the uh, uh, cut. Start. So when you do start to present and talk about your process, share certain details about your design process, like what actions or what methods you followed for doing some research, right? What were the outcomes and what were the decisions that you kind of took based on those outcomes. I think it's very important to share the design decisions and base those decisions on the findings that you had when you performed the UX research. Now, when you reach a point where you start to work on or brainstorm on your solutions, then make sure you share certain visuals with them as well. So, like when you're just putting the ideas down on a piece of paper, those moments that you worked on the project, just document those and share those and talk about those, because that's when the hiring team will understand how you work when you are actually putting your hands down, right? So when you are the most productive, when you are generating ideas, this is, I think, very important to share. I've seen most of the applicants kind of just run through this or just skim through this. But I think sharing these insights or just the smaller decisions is very important. Now walk them through as you kind of refine those solutions and ideas and the tools that you're using to kind of refine those. For example, if you're using Figma or Adobe XD, mention that here as well. Now remember, the tool is just that, it's a tool. So focus on your solution and your process. Don't focus more on the tool that you used or certain features of the tool that you used. It's not important here at this point or in this presentation. If you've worked on any building any design systems for your product, then do mention those and talk about the design system that you built and the overall journey of that as well. And if you were a part of the developer handoff process, talk about that and be sure to talk about that as well, because that I think will excite the developers on the meeting and they will want to know if they can trust you with or work with you during the developer handoff. I'll actually work on making a separate video about how to work with developer handoff. So make sure you're subscribed. Now, in the end, also share how your design help your users to kind of solve the problem that you were working on, right? So if you have any metrics, if you've done any testing on your product with the users, and if you have any feedback, then do share that as well. Now, if your product has not shipped yet, then you can also mention like the next steps of what you're going to work on, because that may be a reality. So if your product hasn't shipped, you may want to share what are the next steps that you're going to take. Or just like me, or just like this project, like I did this when I was in design school. So I did not get a chance to actually work on testing and getting the feedback from the users once we had the prototype. So in this case, you may want to share the learnings that you got while working on this project. Now, you mentioned like 2 to 3 points about how, like what you learned when you were working on this project, and then if you were to kind of come back to this project and work on it from scratch, what would you do differently and what steps would you add in this process? That's actually very important because the hiring manager or the hiring team will know that you are aware of what the next steps are, and then you are able and willing to take those steps if given a chance. So in the end of your presentation, be sure to include a thank you slide and leave some room for, like, leave some time out of your session for questions and answers, because I am sure that there will be some questions. Make sure that you also mention like what sets you apart from the other candidates in, like, while you're describing or while you are ending your presentation, because the last thing that you say will actually leave a very lasting impression on the hiring team. And if you have something that the other candidates don't, then the hiring team will for sure remember your work as well. All right, so I've actually talked about a lot of the tips along the course of the video, but if you have reached this point, here is the most important tip. When you get the invite or the meeting invite for the portfolio presentation meeting, be sure to thoroughly read through all the details and make sure you understand everything. Like what's the time and date for that meeting, what you need to keep in mind to kind of set up for that meeting. For example, like prepare your environment and your desk setup accordingly before the meeting so that you don't run into any issues. Make sure like your camera and your microphone are working, and you don't have to kind of work through those audio and video problems when you actually start the meeting. Like that doesn't look good. So make sure you are prepared for that. Now, one additional tip I'll add over here is that when you do get that meeting invite, if there are multiple participants from the hiring team, do some research about all the team members who are going to attend, and do like a basic search, their LinkedIn profile, like what their journey was. Also take a look at their portfolio pieces, and if you find something that is common between your work or or your experience and their work, then highlight that when you are actually introducing yourself, right? So for example, if Joe is on the hiring team and he worked for a company that you also worked for previously, then chances are that you may have some common friends or common colleagues from that company. So you introduce yourself like, hi Joe, I'm Nikhil, nice to meet you. I noticed from your LinkedIn profile that you also worked for ABC company during XYZ time. I also worked for that company, but at a different time. So it's a crazy coincidence, right? So this actually is a good step in breaking that ice. So this is, I think, the most important thing that I wanted to share with you, because not only makes you memorable even after the interview, but this also shows your interpersonal skills and your communication skills, that you came to this interview prepared and you did your homework. So you are showing your research skills as well. All right, so I think those tips were very helpful for you, and I wish you all the very best for those interviews and for your design process and your portfolio presentations. I hope you nail those interviews and you get the job that you want. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments. Or if you want to have like a mock interview round with me, I am more than willing to help you. So there's a link down in the description that you can use to book a call with me, and I'll make sure to be available to help you kind of work through the process of how to present your portfolio and just have a mock interview and prepare for the interview as well. So if you are applying or waiting for an interview, make sure to book a call with me to run through those meetings and run through those interview prep sessions. I cannot wait to help you, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, share this video with your friends and classmates and help them out as well, and leave a like. If you like this video, please leave a like. It helps me and the YouTube algorithm. So with that being said, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.